Welcome everybody to another bright morning in the Konkan. I am Harsha sitting here at Srivardhan, which is a coastal paradise, and it's a beautiful day and I can actually breathe in the fresh air. The wide, clean shoreline and the dense coconut groves are something for the eye. Just look at the cypress trees that surround us. Look at the fishermen go about with their regular activities and the constant lashing of waves on the shores that really add to the drama here. The place is teeming with tourists. Some of them are enjoying boat rides here and there's enthusiasm in the air. The euphoria in the atmosphere can be seen in the stadium too. And the audience here at Srivardhan is excited to watch one more good match. All the preparations for the day's tournament are complete and the players too seem well prepared. The incessant rains here for the past few days have left the ground wet. Sunny, I feel playing over here is going to be a big problem for these players.
Yeah, you said it, Harsha. The ground is wet over here and it's an uneven pitch. And you can see heavy grass on it. So this will definitely benefit the bowlers, but the batsmen will be facing surprises. There might be an unexpected bounce in the delivery or a spin, or you may say even a change in the direction itself. But the players are experienced and moreover it's a home pitch for them. So I don't think there would be any problem for them. And the audience will definitely experience powerful performances over this ground.
Thank you, Sunny. The players have now gathered for the toss. And Manjrekar has won the toss and has opted to bat. The players have now taken their positions and Nitin Tarde is getting ready to bowl to Manjrekar. The first ball and a big hit. Now let's watch this in the replay again. Tarde had actually given a very good delivery, but Manjrekar has smashed the ball literally. What a shot that was.
Oh yes, but that's the rule of this game. The coconut that is bowled has to be smashed. Every year on the occasion of Narli Purnima, a Hindu festival, such unique tournaments are held over the Konkan coast. The rules of this game are rather funny and interesting. Two players are given 6 chances each to bowl and break coconuts. Each player endeavours to keep the coconut in his hand safe and break the opponent's coconut that is bowled at him. The coconuts used in the game are inspected by the Panchayat members prior to the game. If a coconut passes through this particular ring, it is disqualified. The bowling speed and the spot for the first bounce are also laid down in the rules. The coconut, which was anyway an integral part of the lives of the people of Konkan, has now also made its place in the field of sports. Coconut groves are a speciality of the coast. Coconut traders lease such groves from the owners on an annual contract, and through the year they harvest the fruit by hiring around 15 to 20 people to work in the groves. This work of taking down coconuts from the trees is rather risky. These expert tree climbers swiftly climb trees without any support and throw down bunches of coconuts with the help of a thick rope. They certainly have to exercise caution. Despite this seemingly dangerous method, the accident rate among these workers is almost nil. The coconut is the chief means of income for several people residing along the coastline. The fisher folk offer this fruit to the sea after a proper traditional puja on the auspicious day of Narli Purnima. Oftentimes, they carry the coconut to the sea in a procession with much fanfare. After a forced repose during the 3 monsoon months, they will now begin their fishing activities. These fisherfolk inherit knowledge about the sea, its fish, and other details from generation to generation, and their training in fishing starts from a very early age. It is a common sight to find 3 generations of a fisherman's family on the same fishing boat. Even the women of the family lend a hand in picking out the fish from the nets and later selling them to the traders. This is then followed by cleaning up the nets and readying them for the next day. Now, it's time for a little rest and snacks. The fishing activity will go on for the next 8 months or so. Along with fresh fish, even dried fish trading goes on here on a large scale. As you stroll down the coastline, you find large portions of land covered with shining fish scattered over for drying under the sun. However, not all of these fish are edible. Barring a few varieties, most of this dried fish is powdered and used as fertilizer. Besides this, it is also used as food for broilers in poultry farms. These patches of land covered with dried fish serve as a veritable feast for kites, seagulls, egrets, and other birds. These birds literally plunge on this ready meal, and most often than not, they are ignored by the fisherfolk, as there is enough food for both humans and birds. However, not all birds are lucky. Like this crow. An evening by the Harne dock near Dapoli. This dock serves as a huge fish market every day. Hundreds of boats come here with their catch, and their fish are auctioned here itself.
चले 3375 चले 3375
Some big boats stay at sea fishing for 2 to 3 days continuously and carry a very large quantity of ice on board to prevent the fish from deteriorating. This in turn has led to ice traders and manufacturers setting up business along the coastline. These fishing boats have to be overhauled and maintained from time to time. For this, they have to be hauled over to the shore, and this has to be done manually. Large manpower is required, and at such times, each one helps the other. This vegetable oil, called kadu tel, is applied on the sides of the boat. It protects the wood from the sea's salinity, ensuring longevity of the boat's life. It is important to note that this oil, although used as a protective layer, does not cause any marine pollution as it is organic in nature. Almost all Hindu fisher folk stop their fishing activity for nearly 8 days during the Holi festival. It's Holi Purnima, the full moon night today. This festival is celebrated with zest and tradition by the fisher folk. On such a full moon night, should you venture out to the seashore with a torch in hand, you will be left spellbound by the sight. One can always find a variety of marine life in rocky areas of the shore. This is the Chimbori variety of crab. It is a seafood delicacy. It tastes as good as it looks. The Chimbori crab molts. This is how it looks after molting. This battalion of soldier crabs along the shore serves to keep the sands clean by scavenging on decaying stuff. It is a treat for them, and they fulfill their duties as nature's sanitizers rather passionately. Well, some rest after a hectic cleanup drive. Holy Purnima goes by, and then it's time to welcome the summer. Demands for coastal specialities, summer foodstuff like kokum sharbat, etc. increases. It is a wonderful de-stressing experience to spend a quiet, peaceful summer afternoon in a coconut grove. The fatigue of a hot summer simply vanishes with the cool freshness of the grove. One loses track of time while watching nature's light and shadow play. A learning experience for every professional photographer worth his salt. Keeping one's eyes and ears open here unravels a bounty of nature's hidden secrets to you, like a variety of spiders and their amazing webs. This spider resembles a dried blade of grass. Look at this web. It's perfectly shaped like a felt hat. Life seems one continuous struggle for all. Some struggle to break out of this vicious web, while others struggle to trap lives in their web. One is caught up inside a web, while the other is caught up setting up one. To the north of Agar, some fishermen were busy setting up their nets in the shallow waters near the saltwater marshes. This is another fishing technique which depends on the tides. At high tide, as the water comes in, nets are spread from end to end, and fish that come in search of food are automatically trapped in these nets. Retrieving the fish that are caught in the net underwater is no mean feat for these fishermen. Due to continuous ebb and high tides, the land here becomes marshy and we have saltwater marshes. This gives rise to mangrove forests. In such marshes, leaves falling from trees decay and provide an ideal feeding ground for these fiddler crabs and the mudskippers. This species is found here by the thousands. Several fish too swim in these marshes during high tide in search of food. They keep returning here during their breeding season and multiply here. It is a safe haven for these fish. Thus, these mangroves play a vital role in the eco-balance of the coastal area. Close to these marshy jungles, in places like Agar, are found dense caved-up forests bordering the sandy shores. These naturally growing jungles are worth watching. One must, however, be vigilant while roaming through these forests and guard against these tiny beings, the weaving ants. These naturally growing jungles and forests serve as sentinels of the coastline. Environmental studies reveal that coastlines with such jungles faced minimal losses during the recent tsunami tragedy. Their preservation is absolutely necessary. During ebb tide, if you look into one of these watery crevices in the rocks, a rather captivating and enchanting picture awaits you. This is the hermit crab. One must remember not to walk barefoot on these rocks, as these barnacles have very sharp edges and can cause deep gashes in the feet. These rocky shores are a boon for some and a bane for a few other fish. During high tide, some relatively big fish swim ashore and are trapped when the water recedes. Lack of water then spells doom for them and they die. This is a natural cycle though. Death for one is survival for the others. A walk through a typical neighborhood along the shore shows several people engaged in small trades. In a place like Agar, where there is shallow water along the shore, another unique fishing technique is used. Bamboo sticks are fixed in the sand in the seaward direction, and vertical nets are fixed onto these. With high tide, fish and crabs are caught in these nets. Sometimes it's a rich haul, sometimes just a small one. However, not always do these nets catch fish. Often, ponds and dead vegetation too get caught and damage the nets. This is a big waste of time, effort, and energy. In recent times, big trawlers that normally operated in the deep sea have started coming dangerously close to the coastline. An illegal practice that robs the smaller fisherfolk of their daily earnings. Hence, some fishermen have turned to the growing tourist population for alternate means of living. Although these folks do earn alternate income by taking tourists for boat rides and to watch dolphins, it seems rather unfair that their family profession is trespassed upon by bigger trawlers, by bigger businesses. What's more, the huge fishing nets laid by these trawlers is destroying marine life like sea turtles, sea snakes, and many other varieties of fish which are not consumed by humans, thus destroying the precious marine ecosystem. A walk by the shore during ebb tide is simply memorable. Seagulls and other birds are seen in large numbers congregating on the shores, which is a sight to behold. Intricate designs are seen on the sand. It almost seems as if an artist has sketched on a huge canvas. It is created by these little artists, the snails. They emerge from the sand during ebb tide and move about in search of food on the wet sand, creating such designs. Both the snail and its designs disappear with the tides. At the other end, some crabs are industriously working away in the sand. Trespassing? Not allowed. One hot afternoon, we found this pattern on the agar beach. It was low tide. Far away from the sea, a turtle lay still. Must be dead, I thought, but soon I saw it breathe. Perhaps it had laboriously crawled to that spot and created this pattern. As it lay there in the scorching heat, I felt I had to help it back into the sea. I sought help from the villagers, and together we took it to the sea. It seemed too fatigued to go into the water and didn't move for long. The next day, however, it was nowhere to be seen. Wonder what happened to it. On one hand, these turtles die in the trawlers' nets, while on the other, every year thousands of turtles' eggs are sought after and stolen. With this predicament in mind, the Sahyadri Mitra Sanstha, a group of environment activists led by Bhau Kadare, is creating awareness among locals in villages like Vilas, Srivardhan and agar, among others. They have motivated villagers to guard turtles' eggs and help thousands of baby turtles to their rightful home, the ocean. It is, however, important that even tourists coming to the coast cooperate with such activists and help preserve marine life. Eco-protection is the duty of every citizen and is not bound to any one single organization. Marine traffic has increased over the years, and this naturally results in accidents and mishaps. A sure victim of it being this whale. This unfortunate whale was washed away 8 kilometers to the south of agar in a secluded spot on the beach. While its body was found here, its tail was found about 1.5 kilometers away down the shore, caught in a ship's propeller. What an unfortunate end to such a mammoth creature. You never know what surprises await you while strolling on the seashore. Just a distance away from where this unfortunate whale lay, we saw digging wasps. These creatures dig the sand and bury their eggs along with food for the larvae that emerge when the eggs are hatched. This dead snake was found on the Hedvi beach in Ratnagiri district. Just like the sea turtle, sea snakes too need to come out of the water for a breath of air, and if they are trapped for long in the fishing nets, they suffocate and die. This snake, found on the Aravali beach south of Sindhudurg district, however, was lucky, alive, and could be rescued. These creatures' movements, however, slacken once they are out of the water. Lethally venomous, this snake nevertheless is quite docile. Hence, when it is trapped in the nets, fishermen casually throw it back into the sea. Of course, it is prudent not to get too close to the snake if one is not familiar with it. Even an accidental bite can prove fatal, as there is no antivenom available for this species. Touring the coast brings us close to several different people from different castes like Koli, Kunbi, Maratha, Brahmins, Muslims, Bhandaris and others. As we go southwards in the Sindhudurg district, we find Christian fisherfolk too in places like Aravali. This is a very neat and tidy shoreline in the Aravalis. This community uses smaller boats. They basically fish along the coast and do not venture into the deep sea. These smaller boats can be easily maneuvered in and out of the sea, which is why even in mid-monsoons, at times when the winds are not too strong, they bring out their boats to carry on with their fishing activity. Today they seem to have got a rich haul. Sometimes, however, a mishap occurs. A huge wave lashed against this boat and their oars broke. They now have to return to the shore. Amidst all these different communities and tribes, we find Adivasis too. They have nothing to call their own. No land, no home. They can afford neither fishing nets nor a boat. So, they have devised their own technique. During high tide, certain fish swim in the opposite direction towards shallow waters in search of food. It is now that these people begin their work. They build a small bund with the help of loamy soil on the shore and trap the seawater. They start emptying water from the bund with pots and pans used in their daily routine. Toiling thus for 5 to 6 hours, they haul a handful of fish, which is enough for a meal. A partridge shot down with a slingshot will further complement their frugal meal. Some others among them also use the bait for fishing. Sometimes, something unusual bites the bait. Oh, what is this they've got? A snake? No, it's an eel. Extremely slippery, this creature is very difficult to hold, and this seems to be its defense mechanism. Finally, we held it in a piece of cloth and unhooked it from the bait. It was released back since it was anyway not an edible variety. When a crab is caught, these folks prevent its pincers from opening by breaking one of its legs and inserting it in the pincers to hold it in position. Now it's safe to handle. Rather cruel, but convenient. Despite so many indigenous fishing techniques, commercial fishing needs big boats, and these boats are built on the shore. Boat building activities go on all through the year at various places along the coast. Villagers construct a small shed right next to the shore, and this serves as a workshop. The base of the boat is made of one single large wood, and the rest consists of planks. Even today, this traditional technique of boat building is followed. One single boat can cost anywhere close to rupees 25 to 30 lakhs and take about 8 to 10 months to build. When you tour the shoreline alone, you'll never feel lonely. There is always something interesting happening around. And you have company at all times, in all places. Even at night, in your hotel room, these companions are hovering around the lamp. Why? You're not alone even in your toilet. The coastal tour gives you immense pleasure. It is worth taking a break from one's routine and getting away to the coast. The Konkan region of Maharashtra has been blessed with a bountiful coastline, almost 750 kilometers long. And this is definitely a destination for a refreshing getaway. Strolling through the coconut and palm groves, observing marine life and the flora and fauna, learning about the local people. Well, if this isn't ecotourism, then what is? My coastal tour made me acutely aware of how minuscule we humans are in comparison to the vast imposing ocean. Can one ever have enough of its beauty and bounty? No, one is never satisfied. So along I go, my search still on, along the coast, on a pleasure hunt.